Hey everybody, it's your girl Lynette J. Morris, the owner of Goal Getter LLC and your host for the Mind TV series. I have with me today one of my good clients, one of my good friends. I'm gonna let her tell y'all who she is, what she represents, what she does. Zoe, take the floor, Zoe.
Oh, I got you. But listen up, I gotta tell you who I am now. First, let me be professional, because you know we always gotta kick the professional.
Yeah, we start
off
and then
professional.
before the people realize we crazy.
Right.
Yes.
Because we gonna touch.
Yes.
But anyway, my name is Zoe Domino Thomas. I am the CEO of ZDT Financials, where we kind of help people, you know, with their financial bad habits, should I say, and turn them into good habits.
Yes.
We do, you know, a lot of different things, a little touch of, you know, budgeting, organizing finances, as well as credit restoration and different things of such.
Yeah, you helping them get them coins together.
Them kerns.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
But have you always been in finance, Zoe?
Girl, let me tell you something. I'm about to blow your mind. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
So
Let me make sure I'm ready.
you got it.
Okay,
You got
all right,
it?
okay, good.
So the thing is this: I have always been in business.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, if you're in business, you're in finance, right?
A little bit.
But the bottom line, even with heavily matriculated with the MBA and everything, with healthcare administration, working with hospitals and different things and such, but I never knew a lot about matters of personal finance. Until a couple years ago, you know, I decided to start researching and studying on different things, only because I had a horrible credit score. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. It was,
That's how most people get started in credit, because they be like, I remember Monique was saying, like, she was like, how I got started in credit was because she was trying to buy a house, right?
Right, same thing,
Exactly.
same
So
thing,
she was
same
trying to
thing.
buy a house. Her credit score was in the toilet. She had gone to another company so that they can help her, you know, get whatever. She saw like a sign on a Nutriground or something that said, I can help you fix your credit. Then the people got scammed. And then she called, the phone number was disconnected. She got scammed. Then she went to another company. They weren't moving fast enough for her, so she started learning how to do credit so she could fix her own credit and purchase a house.
And I remember
so that's funny.
She shared that same information.
Yes.
I'm like, girl, our lives are like mirroring
Okay.
each other. All right. So, in the crazy thing, it was like that, but I started learning different things and I started applying it to myself.
Correct.
And then I was like, you know what? Let me help out my mom. Let me help out my dad. Let me help out my son. And, you know, when our credit score started to increase and I kind of figure out like kind of tricks of the trade and kind of things that the banking would tell us to do, but we really didn't understand the reasons why.
Yeah.
And I saw the benefit from it. Baby! The benefits of good credit.
Of good credit,
Yeah.
okay. I like the old people say credit. With the
Yes,
CK
with
on
the-
it.
Yeah.
Benefits of good credit. So tell the people just a little bit, not not everything, but tell them some of the benefits of good credit, like what you've seen, how you've been able to leverage credit, either in your personal life or in your business.
Well, I'll go ahead and share that. I'm just going to give you just a short testimony, meaning we used to have credit cards, and people think that credit cards is just credit. But one thing I've realized within the last couple of years that it's more than with your finances with credit. You know, it's organizing your finances as well as budgeting and even having goals because nobody wants to be restricted.
Correct.
They have money and they want to spend it.
Correct.
So I was just learning different things, and I'm gonna give you an example. My husband and I had a credit card, and that credit card started off like with a $200 balance, girl. And I don't mind sharing. It was with Capital One. And I'm
Okay.
like,
$200. You can't do much
right?
with that. Get a little
Right.
gas. Get a little gas. Yeah. We're
You
gonna
know,
make this our gas card.
and with that particular card, I decided to apply the tricks of the trade that I learned in reference to it, playing around with the billing cycle date, and sometimes it would be paying more than once on that card a month. But we had the card for about 2 years. And all of a sudden, I started doing the different things. You know, everybody knows about that credit utilization needs to be under 30%. So I teach
Well,
my
hopefully,
clients.
look, if y'all didn't know that, you know it
You know now.
Credit
But-
utilization under 30%.
Under
on
30,
your
but
cards.
I teach my clients, when that billing cycle date comes, it needs to be close to zero as possible. So I started applying that to myself, and after 2 months, that same credit card went from 200 to 1,000. And I'm like, okay, all right, I think I got this.
I got this.
I got
Yeah.
And so just kind of doing the same thing, but I started applying my bills. So I put my bills on auto pay. A lot of people don't like doing that. I put my bills on auto pay, but I also had payments going weekly
To the credit card.
to the credit card. Girl, 6 months later, I'm at $25,000 on that particular credit card.
Yeah.
So what happened was, because I had that credit limit, my credit score jumped like close to 80 points. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. Oh Lord, I done figured out a secret.
You okay?
Right. So I
A secret that a lot of people already knew.
already
we just
knew,
didn't
but
know,
I just
right?
didn't know. Right? Some other people knew. But we didn't know,
yeah.
So, and I just started teaching that, how to be financially responsible. Have a credit card.
Yeah.
Because I grew up, they told me not to have credit
Girl,
cards.
the old people say if you couldn't afford to pay for it, don't get it.
Look,
don't put nothing on credit.
Don't put nothing on credit.
Get that money out the brown paper bag that's under the bed, in the bag,
Under the mattress.
Yeah,
under the mattress.
They live by that. They did not live by credit. So like the old people philosophy was cash is king, right? Cash rule everything around us. The rappers were talking about that cash rule everything around.
Had them stacks on stacks on stacks.
But it really ain't cash no more. Credit is really king.
Girl, let me tell you, and this is a saying I say all the time. Credit may be king, cash may be king, but credit is power.
It definitely is.
It is power. I found out having an 800 or over 800 credit score is more powerful than having $100,000 in the bank.
Absolutely.
So, because that speaks volume.
Yeah.
It's like a repetition.
Yep. Because I realized that when some years ago when I had my mental health rehab agency, right? And the state made it a mandate that you had to have a $50,000 line of credit, right? And so I was like, well, I got $50,000 in cash. They was like, that couldn't wash. Like you have to figure out how to convert that to a line of credit.
Right.
I was like, but you're looking at the cash right here in the bank. They was like, it don't matter how much. It didn't matter how much cash I had. They wanted the line of credit, and I had to prove to them that I had the line of credit with some banking entity or whatever, with a letter from the banking entity and all of these things. So that proved to me that cash did not matter at this point, right? Exactly. It's all about the credit. You have to have a line of credit, something or whatever, because they could care less about cash. Right. I'm like, I'm sending y'all my bank statements. You can see I had more than $50,000 in the bank. They was like, it don't matter. It had to be a line of credit.
Exactly.
So that go to show you like, cash is here, but credit is here, right? Absolutely. Even when you're trying to go and buy a vehicle, if you don't have all of the cash to buy the vehicle, you need credit to purchase a house. If you don't have $300,000 and trying to buy a $300,000 house, you need credit, right? So there's no way around it.
Right.
There's no way around it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I heard you say like you've had other jobs with healthcare and all of these other things. How is the jobs that you had in the past in comparison to you now being a full-time entrepreneur? Like, let's talk about the comparison.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the freedom.
Let's talk about the freedom. Let's talk about that, okay? Please tell the people about the freedom, okay?
Because, girl, it's the freedom. It's the time. One thing I realized, working for other organizations or working with other individuals, the bottom line is as long as you're working and you're receiving money, you're working on somebody's dream.
Yeah.
And it's very important that even though you may have to do it for a little while, you need to work on your own as well.
Absolutely.
So even when I was punching the clock, I had money, but I didn't have that freedom of time. And now I realize how important that is.
Yeah.
Because you can always make more money.
Yeah. You can't create no more time.
But you can't make no more time.
Okay.
So that was my comparison. And now, like for instance, travel, I can travel anywhere. I can go see my son at Morehouse. And if I have my laptop right there, and if I have to do something real quick.
Work. That's your office for the day.
That's right there.
Yeah.
Right there.
That's your office for the day.
Right there in his apartment.
Okay.
Or right there on Morehouse campus. You understand what I'm saying? It's right there. So that's what I found. And I became more passionate about making sure that my time was mine.
Correct. Absolutely.
Was mine. So that was a big difference for me. And once I had a little touch of that freedom,
and
that little power,
don't want to go back. Don't want to go back.
I can't work with nobody else.
At all. But the thing about and it's okay. Like there are people that still work. There are people that work full time, do entrepreneurship part time or whatever it is. Right. Entrepreneurship is hard as hell. Let me just tell y'all that. Right. And I can speak honestly and openly because I've been a full time entrepreneur now for 11 years. Right. Entrepreneurship is very hard, right? But even as a full-time employee with 2 college degrees, I was only at a salary of $40,000.
Tell it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Because I'm like,
So naturally, when you go into mental health counseling, which is where I was, you're not making no lot of money.
Not at all.
You're not making a lot of money. It was barely enough money for me I couldn't even rob Peter or Paul. Like they used to say, rob Peter to pay Paul.
It's either or.
Neither one of them getting paid. I was robbing both of them. I was paying somebody else. So I didn't even have enough to rob Peter to pay Paul. It was like literally having to figure out like what I'm gonna pay here and this is that or whatever. But it was always like making sure I was taking care of responsibilities. There was not much leeway for
anything
options.
else.
Right, exactly. So I talk about this all the time, like on all of the shows, like pretty much how much financial, like the financial component to entrepreneurship when you're doing it right gives you so much freedom, because finances gives you way more freedom, right? Finances give you choices. It gives freedom that when you in poverty, you just don't have that, right? Because I grew up poor, and I know we didn't have much choices, right? We didn't go on family vacations, none of that, because my mom could not afford that. So when you're in poverty, or when you low income and all these other things, you just don't have very many choices or whatever, right? So you heard Zoe say, like, entrepreneurship has given her freedom, right? So with the freedom, what are you doing with this freedom?
Oh my gosh. Just the flexibility. It allows me to create multiple streams of income. You know,
period.
Yeah,
okay.
I know, and I look, because that's a whole nother conversation.
That's a whole nother conversation.
That's a whole nother conversation.
But I'm so glad that she said it, because I've been fussing at her for months. So I told y'all this is my client. So
tell me all my business.
I'm telling all your business. Business, BIDNESS. Been fussing at her for months, and she's finally getting it. So the fact that she just said that, she all right with me, y'all.
Yes. But I will say this, that freedom of time, and I just think about, you were mentioning, even though some people like to punch a clock, you may work 40 hours a week, but I want to let you know, by being an entrepreneur, sometimes it's more than 40 hours a week.
Yeah. Especially starting out.
I remember being up to 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning trying to get something done because somebody had a deadline, or either you just wanted to get it done because it was on your head, or, so sometimes I have worked more than, 10 hours a day. Let's be realistic. Just how they say, with the midnight oil, burning that midnight oil. But it's not like that every day. But I work hard like that because I know it's for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's for me, and then it'll be more beneficial. Even with creating different things to sell, and sometimes you just have to get it all out.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to get it all out. But having that freedom of time, going back to that, it just helps me to create multiple streams of income. And I've learned. I remember we were talking about the shiny object syndrome. So I've learned.
Get distracted. We're working on one project. Ooh, that look good. Let me go jump all day. Like SOS, shiny object syndrome. We all over the place.
Yes,
creating all kind of stuff.
Since we've been having different things going on, we're talking sessions. I've learned how to make sure that that's organized, to make sure that one business, hey, it's okay to have multiple businesses. But I remember you were saying about the umbrella. Like, for instance, it doesn't make sense. Well, it makes sense for some people, but not for me. For me to have this beautiful financial counseling service, and then I want to open up a food truck.
Right.
What's
the purpose?
What's the purpose?
Yeah.
Because I just have there's nothing wrong with that. Some people do that.
Some people do that. Yeah.
I prefer to stay under that financial umbrella to have one thing grow off of another.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so what she's talking about, you all, like, I am not a big proponent of multiple businesses when it's going to distract you and when you're compromising your own mental health and physical health, right? So what am I saying? Years ago, when I first started being an entrepreneur, technically, and you remember I told you this story, when you go into the entrepreneurship space, you're transitioning from being an employee to having set pay days, right? So I went from being paid every other Friday into being a full-time entrepreneur, not knowing when I was going to get paid, right? So, if you don't hunt, you're not eating if you're an entrepreneur, right? So I immediately went into hustle mode. Like, I'm hustling. I'm going to do everything that I know how to do to make money or whatever, right? So at one time, I had the behavioral health business, I had a catering business, and I had the consulting business. All 3 things, right? But I physically was working in all 3, right? So I'm hustling here, hustling there, chasing a bag, what they call it, right? Stretched thin until one day I almost had a meltdown, right? Almost hit the ceiling of burnout or whatever, and I realized, like, I can't continue to go in all these different directions. Now, for people that have multiple businesses, like Jamal, it's okay to have multiple businesses when other people are running it and it doesn't require you to be in it, right? So let's just say if you had 3 different businesses, this business is on automation. If you wanted to have a fruit truck, right? Make sure you have an employee in there to sell the fruit, right? Somebody over the inventory to make sure the inventory is stocked. All you have to do is peek in once a week, make sure they got everything X, Y, Z, and then you go on about your business. If somebody else is in a financial business and you got people sending out letters for the people credit and all these other things or whatever, you just have to peep in and make sure they're okay and they have all the tools that they need, X, Y, Z. Business number 2 is able to flow without you physically being in it, doing the day-to-day and all that.
Automation.
That's wonderful as well, right? So if your businesses are on automation and they all don't require you physically to be in them, then I agree with having multiple businesses. If they all require you to be in it, I totally disagree with that. As a therapist, I'm always going to say you compromising your mental health and your physical health, right? For the sake of $1 that you won't even be able to appreciate spending because you're going to be burned out.
You're going to be tired.
You're going to be tired and burned out, right? So probably somewhere committed on medication, all these other things. Exactly, right? And so that's when I disagree with multiple businesses. If the businesses require you 100% to be in all of them, then that's a no-go, right? And also, when she said like having one umbrella, like I mean like one business with multiple streams of income, right? Even some of those streams of income, all of them should not require you to physically be involved in the process in order for that business to be successful. Right. If they do, that's the same as having multiple businesses that require all of you, right? My business has 10 streams of revenue. I'm sitting in one of them, right? This is the Small Business Center. The Small Business Center has streams of revenue within itself, right? If I leave out the Small Business Center, my daughter is the CEO. She's running the center and everything that's associated with it. It does not require me to be in it, right? The day-to-day operations don't require me to be in it. I have 2 virtual assistants that's running there, the administrative components. Again, my daughter's the CEO. She's running operations. They don't require me to be in it. So even when I step away and I go out the country, naturally I bring my laptop because I want to be able to respond to whatever is necessary, but it does not require me to be in the day-to-day operations. My responsibility now is to make sure I'm doing income generating activities daily to make sure income is consistently coming into the business, right? So the day-to-day operations, business development, all of that, none of that is me anymore. Right? But it was at one time. So you literally have to scale and grow to that particular level in business. Scale, right? But and a lot of people don't think about that from the very beginning.
When they think about scale, they think about getting on the scale. I'm sorry.
How much I weigh?
Look, I'm sorry. You know I'm gonna be me, right? I'm gonna be me.
That's why they call you the crazy credit card. Have me on the crazy. Okay, let's go. Yo, when we say scale, that means elevating in business, right? So if you scale in a business, your business is elevating. And unfortunately, a lot of people, when they start the business, they only thinking in terms of them being the only employee.
Girl,
and
you remember when
and I can't afford to pay people. I'm like, you can't afford not to pay. Oh, you can't afford not to pay. Yeah, you got to do all that. I was like, Zoe, no, you don't. We're about to get you a virtual assistant. And your VA is going to do all the administrative stuff because you are not the hardest working employee of your business. You should not be, right? If you're the CEO, be the boss. If Sam Walton was still living, he wouldn't be on that floor bagging no groceries. Not at Walmart. He would not.
That's why they got all them self-checkout.
Do it yourself.
Do it yourself.
Help yourself. Okay. I ain't got time for all this. Sam, I ain't got time for this. Go ahead on, scale your emotions.
Okay.
Well, yes. Okay, back to us, y'all. So tell the people how, again, you've been able to leverage that business. You have a lot more freedom, a lot more flexibility. Like, what are you? She has a team now, y'all. So let her tell you a little bit about the business and the team and how her business can help you get your money together. You talked about budgeting. You talked about credit, but in real life, like, in business credit, how does that help a business owner? Because most of these people that we're talking to is business owners.
Okay, so we're talking about business credit.
Let's talk about business credit.
Okay, well, let's talk about just for a little
just for a second. Then we could jump on a little personal and all that.
Because, girl, let me tell you, business credit changed my life.
I agree.
It changed my life. And I've had a business before. It was in healthcare. And I did a lot of my personal finances. And I used a lot, and it was a lot. I was just taking money out of my household to put into the business. But once I learned how to take advantage of the different setups that the government has set in place for small businesses, I was like, oh my gosh, here it is. I'm 20 years in, and I'm just not finding this out. Oh, better late than never, like it is. It is. So even because it's more than just tier setup. It's just having things set in order. I speak with a lot of people. They may have an EIN from the IRS, but they're not even set up with the Secretary of State. So it's just right. But the thing is, when you know better, you do better. So even small things like that was able to help my businesses, and I was able to help other businesses. Just learning just those different things because people's like, oh, I'm going to buy me a G-Wagon because it's gonna be 100%. You know, we get the tax
Tax
write-off.
write-off.
But if you don't have money coming into that business,
How you gonna pay for
how you gonna pay for that
Yeah,
G-Wagon? But
yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
anyway, you know, with all of that being said, business credit is something that is very beneficial to small businesses, as well as large.
Yep. Because they leverage it too.
They leverage it too. They leverage it too. But just having those things in order really makes a big difference, especially in your personal finance, because we don't want to use personal finances
Correct.
for our business.
Yeah, we're gonna use other people's money to grow our business.
OPM.
OPM, like Malika said, yeah, other
OPM.
people's money.
Girl, you know, she told me that. I was like,
Oh,
girl,
of
where you
course.
get that acronym
Yeah.
from, girl?
Other people money. So
Yes.
when other people money is the people that lend you lending and
Lending and
business
everything
credit
else.
cards and all of
Banks.
that. And naturally, again, you leverage that revenue that comes from your business credit cards or your business
Exactly.
loans in order to grow your business, right?
grow your
Which means
business.
you're not pulling it out your personal household. You're not pulling it from your personal accounts. You're using those other people money. And again, it's like flipping, like in a drug
Right.
game. Like,
Oh.
they flip a little
flip
something
a
or
little
whatever,
something.
make extra money or whatever. I don't personally know, but it sounds like that was the same
Right.
philosophy. So that's what we're gonna go on,
Okay.
right? But again, you utilizing their money to buy your products or enhance your
Right,
service and do your marketing and all the things or whatever. And when you make the money on this side, then you pay that money back, right?
Right.
As opposed to pulling it from your household, you using other people's money to grow, right? To
Exactly.
grow your business. So that, yeah. So I just wanted you to share that with them so that they can understand. Like,
Right.
you don't, if you are a business owner, you should not be using all of your personal money
Not
to
at
do
all.
that, right?
Right.
Start building a business credit. Make sure your personal credit is good as well.
That part.
Because like your personal credit has to be intact
Let me
before
say
you
this.
get the business
Wait,
credit.
I have to say
Yeah.
this because there's a lot of rumors going out about, you know, you can build your business credit, and don't get me wrong, you can get up to like maybe 50 to 75K on business alone. But I'm gonna be honest with you. Let's be realistic. If you are thinking big, meaning you want to buy a building in your business name, and you go to the bank and you say, hey, this is what I have. You got money in the bank and everything. That bank is still going to pull your personal credit just to see where you are. So it's important that your personal credit is
as good as your business
as
credit.
good as your business credit, you know, and I learned that, you know, and I love just using integrity and being very transparent. You know, I do everything by trial and error for my own personal business, but I realized, okay, my personal credit needs to be a par if I want to buy that G-Wagon, if you know what I'm saying.
Right,
So because I want to make sure that we're good, but a lot of people don't understand that. And so it's a lot of, as I mentioned before, little tricks of the trade.
Absolutely. Well, good. Thank you so much, Zoe. Tell the people where they can stay in touch with you, how they can follow you, how they can continue to support you, how you can support them. Give them all the good.
Oh, let me give you all the goods, y'all. So y'all know social media is the thing.
It's the thing.
Right, it's the thing. So I'm going to be honest with you. Since we've been on social media, I have been donned the what? The crazy credit
The crazy
cousin.
credit cousin, y'all.
Yes.
That's all.
Girl,
So when you go on TikTok,
when you go on TikTok, that's all
she's
you got
the
to
crazy
do. Crazy
credit
credit
cousin.
cousin.
Yes.
So you can find me there on TikTok where I am doing, of course, all kind of crazy things. We're talking about credit. We're talking about inspiration and different things like that. But I'm also on Instagram and Facebook as ZDT Financials. And my office, can I give my office?
give your office.
Yeah.
Give your office,
Yes, y'all.
If y'all in the NO, you
If
know.
y'all in New Orleans, and everybody knows where Suno is, but I am in the small business incubator, so you guys can reach me over there on Press Drive. So, and let me tell you, and even if you want to write down a number, go ahead and go, grab a pen, grab a pen and paper. Yeah, 504-667-5575. And guess what? My assistant is going to answer the phone.
She gonna
It ain't
answer,
me.
like, okay, yeah, it ain't her, but you know, you still getting a ZDT.
You still get a
gonna still
ZDT.
get the same service. You
Yes.
just won't get her on the
Yes,
line, okay?
yes.
Y'all get the people that number again.
504. Y'all got that pen
Y'all got that pen?
and paper? Okay. 504-667-5545. Remember, that's ZDT Financials.
Yes.
www.zdthomas.com.
All right. Thank you so much, Zoe.
Thank you for having me, honey.
And thank y'all again for joining us this week. Join us the same time, same place, next week, same location, as we continue to bring you different guests, entrepreneur guests that's going to help you to transform your mind so that you too are able to move in new directions. Thank y'all so much. Talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.